Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast today. The Cleveland Metropolitan School District has established a campus international school at Cleveland State University. And Cleveland State University Executive in Residence, Dr. Julian Earls, will be here to talk more about this new school. Then the Vice President of National Affairs for Consumer Credit Counseling Service, Jay Seaton, will walk us through WebVisor. It's a new tool to assist consumers. And later in the broadcast, Victor Ruiz of Esperanza will talk about his organization's annual benefit, the Fiesta of Hope, it is called. Good morning, I'm Leon Bibb. This is Kaleidoscope, and so we beginning with one of my favorite people in all the world, Dr. Julian Earls. Good to see you, Dr. Julian Earls.
Thanks for this opportunity.
Dr. Julian Earls is Executive in Residence at Cleveland State University and former Director of NASA, Glenn, here in Cleveland. Good to have you on the broadcast.
Thank you.
Yeah. Tell me about this Campus International School. Now, this is a relationship between Cleveland Metropolitan School District and Cleveland State University, where you now work.
Absolutely. It's a Cleveland public school that will be on the campus at Cleveland State University. We intend to adopt the International Baccalaureate curriculum, which is a curriculum that is recognized worldwide, so that when students finally graduate, they will get a diploma that's identical to the diploma that students get in China, UK, around the world.
Why did you see this was vital, the Cleveland State and Cleveland Metropolitan Schools?
Well, really, when the new president came on board, he thought that we should have a magnet as a school on campus at Cleveland State to attract young executives, to attract young people, a school that faculty members could have their children attend. And he met with the CEO, Dr. Eugene Sanders, convinced Dr. Sanders that this would be the right thing to do. Dr. Sanders spoke with the mayor. The mayor recognized it as a magnet for attracting people to live in downtown with a quality school that their children could attend. So from that point on, it was just, let's get it done.
Julian, talk a little bit about the curriculum that makes this school different.
The curriculum is one that has a global perspective. We have to make sure that we meet all the requirements of the state with respect to proficiency exams and content and so forth. But this school has a global perspective. For example, we will focus on Chinese as the initial language. So from day one, students in the kindergarten will be given that kind of exposure. The curriculum is extremely rigid. It will adopt such ideas as teamwork. Students eventually will have to be volunteering in the community. But the whole concept is one of having the curriculum that has students learning what goes on in the rest of the world and understand that even though people may have a different perspective, they can be right just as we can be right.
Where is this going to be, and when does it begin?
It begins in August of this year, and we've successfully negotiated a lease arrangement with First United Methodist Church on the corner of East 30th and Euclid. They've moved down to University Circle, and they have an excellent church school that was attached to the church, and we managed a lease agreement to take that property and use it as a school, and we're starting with grades kindergarten, first and second grade, with 2 classes of 20 students in each class.
And this is really going to be a signature piece, if I can use that phrase, a signature school for the Cleveland
Absolutely
school system.
will be. And it is not a school that will only educate a small number of students extremely well. The concept is the marriage between this school and Cleveland State University with the College of Education will develop methodologies and techniques that can be transferred to the entire school system. So this is sort of a lab school that will be able to lift up the entire Cleveland Metropolitan School system.
And I would imagine some of your student teachers or people who are studying to be teachers at Cleveland State University will have will have a connection with this school as well. Kind of a laboratory for them.
That's right, absolutely.
To do their observations and things like that.
And the beauty of this is that being on campus at Cleveland State eventually, our students who major in education can start interacting with students when they first begin their educational careers at Cleveland State. Physicians don't wait until they have their MDs to start interacting with patients.
Certainly.
So teachers often don't start to interact with students until their senior year. But with the school on campus, we can have students in their first year and throughout, having some interaction and collaboration.
This school is called the Campus International School. Let's put a telephone number on the screen where people can get more information on what we're talking about. And that telephone number is 216-523-7116, as you see at the bottom of the information. Can parents call and pick up application information on the school? If they call that number,
Absolutely.
they can get more information on this. And once again, it starts in August.
Starts in August.
Now, Julie,
of the school year.
You're excited about this. What is it that touches your heart about this? You and I have chatted about this kind of thing all along. And here's some information we're putting on the screen as well, Julian. The parent outreach meeting, June the 22nd at 6:30 at 2121 Euclid Avenue. That's on your campus of Cleveland State.
Yes.
Room
Yes.
395. And that phone number, people can get more information and they can go to this meeting, which is going to take place.
Yes.
I've got a minute remaining. What touches your heart about this?
My passion for quality education and belief in the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. This will be a school that can serve as a model for what education can be in a public school system, a collaboration that is novel, if not unique, with an inner city college of education whose primary focus is educating students for service.
Is the goal to take it beyond the first few years of school? We're talking right now. What years are we talking?
We're starting with kindergarten 1 and 2. We will add grades each year until we graduate students in 2016. We will build a school on the campus at Cleveland State because we will outgrow the capacity of this temporary location in 2 to 3 years.
And the temporary location is at the former First United Methodist Church at 3000 Euclid Avenue. That's the corner of East 30th and Euclid Avenue, and everything begins in August.
Everything begins in August.
You're excited about it?
Excited is not even close to how I feel about it.
My good friend and colleague, Julian Earls, former director of NASA, now executive in residence at Cleveland State University.
Thank you, Leon.
Always good to have you on the broadcast, Julian. It's
Pleasure to be with you anytime.
Be well, my friend.
Thank you.
Be well. I got to take a break. In a moment, we're going to come back. This is Kaleidoscope. Back after this. Welcome back to Kaleidoscope this morning. Consumer Credit Counseling Service has a new interactive tool to help consumers with online credit counseling. And the Vice President of National Affairs, Jay Seaton, is here to talk about WebVisor and walk us through the process, allowing you to see how WebVisor analyzes your information and provides suggestions to improve your finances. He's one of our regulars around here, Jay Seaton. Always good to see you, Jay.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good. First off, consumer credit counseling. People still need it, right? They get in financial trouble with the credit cards.
The last couple years, Leon, and first off, thank you very much. Thank Maureen for having me because these segments are so popular.
Yeah.
People really listen to you when you talk about debt and credit and bring out that little credit card. The last 2 years for us as a nonprofit, the oldest nonprofit doing credit counseling, it's been a blur.
Yeah.
Just recently, it's still steady, but I'm hopeful that that's a sign that things are little by little improving. So we still have a lot of appointments, but the last 2 years literally were a blur.
Well, what's this new WebVisor now? Tell me about that.
Well, what's fascinating about it is we're licensed. You need to be licensed as a credit counseling service as a nonprofit in 40-plus states, and we actually even have a national name now, which are part of some of the new responsibilities that I have. But one of the things I was thinking about and others were thinking about, for instance, this program airs on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a normal business day. What if you're really troubled? Maybe you've been to church and it's on your mind about your bills and your debts.
I've prayed to get out of
Now
debt.
you have an electronic, free, simple, confidential, no pop-ups, no advertisements approach and a way to look at your situation and get real interactive advice.
Give us a website. Where's that website?
It's www.apprisen. That's our national name, APPRISEN.com. And again, we're still Consumer Credit Counseling Service locally, but this WebVisor is through Apprisen.
We're looking at it. We're looking at it now. We put that. We brought you up online, right?
Yes.
Right in our control room there.
You know, that's your first page. It talks through a little bit about it, and we've actually created an example for you, for the viewers to see an individual, the kinds of information that you would put in. Once again, I'm underscoring confidential, personal, and private, 24 hours, do it when you want.
And nobody's going to try and sell you something.
There's no sales involved. As you can see, go through this. This asks basic questions about how you're doing, what's your financial situation as the pages go on. You know, what is your income?
Yeah.
And again, we've created a situation here, a sample person, so we can see the blanks are filled in, and then it moves on to your assets. What's the value of everything you have? There are some tools that will go this far, but at the end of this process, as we move through kind of debts and other things, this will actually give you advice in an interactive fashion and suggest things you can do to get a handle on your budget and make changes yourself. If you do need a counselor, that's available also at Consumer Credit Counseling.
And you can go and you can find that information as
that'll
well
be right on
the WebVisor right here. Yeah, this is vital to people. I mean, so many folks I talk to, I mean, they call me all the time, especially after you and I appear on the broadcast together, and they're in desperate trouble.
Me also.
For financial assistance.
And they're not sure where to turn. They're not sure what to do. This is a great tool that's totally free, totally confidential. You can do it if you're troubled and you can't sleep at night. You can move right into the web page and go right into the WebVisor and find out your situation and get a specific booklet that's printed out just for you. That's why we think this is the only one of its kind in the country.
Do you think this is going to replace the human counselors in the future?
What's really interesting is we're finding people like to go through that exercise, or even if they don't, we probably have more branch locations with counselors than any other nonprofit credit counseling service in the country, because people like to talk to a real human being and get a sense of what they're doing.
I got about a minute remaining. You and I, we always are consistent. We always bring out the little credit card and show this little thing here. This is mine. No, don't worry about numbers. We're not going to get that close on it. You can't see my numbers. But this little thing can get us all in trouble if we misuse it, correct?
And yet, as you and I have talked about repeatedly, it doesn't jump out of your purse and it doesn't jump out of your wallet. It's how we relate to it and how we use it, and that's why WebVisor is so helpful.
I want to put that WebVisor picture back on the screen. It is apprisen.com, and that's spelled APPRISEN. Apprisen.com.
Yes, www. And again, locally it's Consumer Credit Counseling, and the phone number is there if you want an appointment. 5 offices with real live human beings in addition to this instrument.
And we can get more information on everything we're talking about if we make the phone call to that number right there, which is on the screen, that 800 number. We can get more information. But once again, this does not replace the human counselor, but this gives you an idea of where you are. And if you're making $50,000 or $40,000 and you're $200,000 in debt because of this, that WebVisor is going to say,
that's exactly right.
Your problem.
And it'll challenge your budget, it'll challenge expenses, make recommendations, and you'll get a booklet at the end of it. Like we say, we think it's one of a kind.
You are saving us. You know that, don't you? Saving us from ourselves sometimes.
Thank you. It's a great resource.
Jay Seaton is the Vice President of National Affairs for the Consumer Credit Counseling Service. He says go to that website, Apprisen, APPRISEN.com. You get more information about the WebVisor. Good advice.
Thank you.
From the advisor and the WebVisor. Thanks a lot, Jay Seaton. Log on to newsnet5.com each week to see what's coming up on Kaleidoscope. Up next, we're going to hear about the state of Hispanic education in Cleveland and something called the Fiesta of Hope in a moment. Welcome back to more of Kaleidoscope today. Esperanza provides a wide range of services to the Hispanic community in Greater Cleveland, and Victor Ruiz heads the organization. He's here to share with us the mission of Esperanza and the state of Hispanic education in Cleveland as well, and also talk about a benefit which is coming up on Friday, June the 25th. Good to see you, Victor Ruiz, Executive Director of Esperanza.
Thank you, Mr. Bibb.
Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
What's the mission? What is Esperanza? What do you do?
Okay. Esperanza, it means hope in Spanish, and our mission is to enhance educational and economic opportunities for Hispanic Americans. We provide educational programs for students and families, school-based, and in our center on the corner of 25th and Clark.
You and I were chatting before we started the program this morning. We were chatting about the state of Hispanic students' education.
Correct.
And you're concerned about that graduation rate for Hispanic students in the Greater Cleveland area. Tell me what your concerns are.
Well, we have the lowest graduation rate of any group in Cleveland. Excuse me. Right now, it's less than 34%.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, our students are failing state-mandated tests at as high as 70%. I think of interest to the general community in Cleveland is that we're the only growing population in Cleveland, and we're the youngest. So as we look into moving into that 21st century economy, our population is going to be the one to drive that, and we're not having the properly educated.
Victor, how do we get a handle on that now? What are your thoughts on that? I know it's a big one. I know this is a big bite that we got to take. I mean, we got to do something.
That's
How
right.
do we get a handle on that?
Well, part of it is bringing some of these innovative programs that are happening throughout the city into the Hispanic community, such as the STEM-based education, bring them in a bilingual fashion. Also, within our community, we have to start looking at education differently, seeing that we can no longer graduate from high school and have a good job as we did in the past. So we have to start valuing and achieving post-secondary education degrees.
Certainly you're going to talk about these issues at your Fiesta of Hope, and I know you're really here to talk about that. What's the Fiesta of Hope, and when and where is it going to be?
Fiesta of Hope, we're actually celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. It's our annual luncheon where we recognize and honor our scholarship recipients. Last year we gave out 52 scholarships to students going to college. This year we're actually going to have more than 60, and it's our way of recognizing students who were able to fight through these issues and go on to college. And our scholarships are average about $600 per student. And our students are going to four-year universities. They're majoring in science, chemistry, and business. Everything. So this is our way of showing our community that we have students who've persevered, and then encouraging those students to come back to Cleveland and serve as peer mentors for those high school students.
And those students who may not be thinking about graduation, maybe they will become inspired because of how you are saluting those who have gone on and will continue to go on to distinguish themselves.
Right.
When and where is the Fiesta of Hope going to be?
That's right. It's going to be on Friday, June 25th at 11:30 at Windows on the River.
Right down in the flats, on the west bank of the Cleveland Flats. And you raise money with this now. Are tickets available?
Tickets are available. They're $65 a person or $600 for a table of 10.
We put a phone number on the screen, and people can call this phone number, Victor, and they can link up with the ticket sellers, right?
That's right.
It is a 216-651-7178. You can, as you see at the bottom of the screen, 651-7178. There's a website also, Esperanza Inc. Esperanza Incorporated, I'm certain. EsperanzaInc.org. You can get more information on everything that we've been talking about. Victor, this excites you to talk about this and talk about the needs of the community. You bring a passion to this. You're asking everybody else to develop that same kind of passion that you've had for a long time, working in these educational circles.
That's right. It's a community investment. Everyone needs to get involved. If we want to tackle these issues and create a better Cleveland, we all have to get involved.
What's your vision for certainly the young people in the Hispanic community?
Well, every student graduate from high school, and every student go on to some sort of post-secondary education, either a 12-month training program or a PhD in physics. You know, that's my vision for all Hispanic. We had a physicist on, Dr. Julian Earls, at the top of the broadcast. His degree is in physics. He's a PhD in physics, a physician, a physicist extraordinaire. What do you tell the parents of the students out there who are watching right now? What do they need to do to encourage their kids to stay in school and get that education? They have to obviously encourage them. They have to help their children see beyond the everyday. They have to explain to their children that without an education, life is going to be hard. You talked earlier about, consumer issues, credit issues, things like that, and the way to be able to create a lifestyle what brings happiness. Research shows that the more education you have, the happier you are.
The better you'll be. Well, their Fiesta of Hope, sponsored by Esperanza, a wonderful organization here in the Greater Cleveland area, will be Friday, 11:30 at Windows on the River. That's on the west bank of the Cleveland Flats. Starts at 11:30. A wonderful luncheon. $65 are the tickets. 651-7178 is a telephone number in the 216 area code. You can get more information on all of that. And Victor Ruiz is the executive director of Esperanza. Victor,
Thank you.
good to have you on the broadcast.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. You may log on to newsnet5.com to see what's coming up each week on Kaleidoscope. Up next, my good friend Marsha Maccabee of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland with her words and thoughts in a moment. Here's Marsha Maccabee of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland. Of course, you realize we are partnered with the Urban League on this broadcast, and Marsha is the CEO of the Urban League, always bringing us her thoughts and philosophies of life about the Urban League.
Thank you, Leon. Really looking at the backdrop of the program that we had today, and we had some really good things going on, as we always do, but we heard about the new international campus that's going to be coming. We're very excited about that school, and we certainly support it. I was intrigued by the notion that they are going to be teaching children to speak Chinese, so that's a really exciting thing. Also, Esperanza, who's going to be acknowledging their young people who have done well. And, of course, Jay Seaton, who talked about financial literacy, which is an ongoing issue that we work on at the Urban League. I think what's interesting is all of these things really just renewed my thoughts about how important it is that we get prepared for the global economy, that we have to expand our thinking to expand beyond the borders of the United States, because we really are in a world economy.
It's not just us. We Americans.
Exactly.
It's a whole bunch of folks out there that we have to do business and have relationships with all over the world.
Absolutely. And I remember when I got my master's degree and took an international business course, I really was intrigued about the whole notion of how businesses build in terms of having businesses in other countries. And so that really opened my eyes about international business, and we have to be ready for that.
I've got 30 seconds remaining. We've got to get our kids, get their educational hats on and thinking about the importance of getting this education so that they become a working part of the whole globe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we need to help them to learn other languages, learn other cultures, and be accepting and open.
Okay. Always words of wisdom from our good friend Marsha Maccabee of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland. Good to see you, Marsha.
Thank you, Leon.
That's going to do it for Kaleidoscope. We will say so long.
Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.